maybe down here than go up.
What's good, YouTube? It's Josh from Card Overflow, and I'm here with...
Vladis, Baranovskis.
And what'd you do this weekend?
I came top 32 at YCS Minneapolis.
Playing what deck?
Scareclaw, Tearlaments.
All right, cool. How many cards in your deck?
42.
42. All right, let's do the deck.
All right. So starting off with the main deck. So I played a very standard Tearlament ratio of just 3 of all of them. There's no reason to cut down on any of the monsters. You do just want to hit the monsters off of your mills, and now your mills are a lot better because of the addition of the new Tearlament Scream from Darkwing Blast, which actually helps a lot because it's another good discard for Rhinoheart, which means that this card, if you mill it, it's live way more often, and this, if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, it lets you just add a Tearlament Trap, which is really good because a lot of the time when you're going Kid Close effect, it's getting like a Merly or the Rhinoheart, and now it means that if you're like milling 8, a lot of the time you're going to be hitting a Scream and you're still going to be able to end on Sulliek or the other trap, Crime, which we now play because there's a lot easier ways to get to the traps now because of Scream. And also in my version of this deck, this is, you can pop this with Barone, so you can, like, at the end of your combo after you've used the first effect to mill 3 cards. Oh, by the way, for whatever reason, this card doesn't make it so your opponent's monsters that are currently on the board lose 500 attack. It's for the turn, all of their monsters are losing 500 attack. So if your opponent forgets that, like, if they summon monsters after the fact of, like, them, after Scream has resolved, their monsters are still losing 500 attack, which is really relevant, which is, like, a really weird thing to say, but the attack modulation is, like, I don't know why it has an attack modulation effect. I'm not gonna lie. It lets it make a Sheeran attack over Toad, which is really relevant.
Did it ever come up that your opponent didn't know that all their monsters lost attack?
No, not really. But it came up for, like, I pointed it out to my opponents and they're like, oh, wait, this card's crazy. Yeah. They didn't even know that it had the attack reduction effect. And then for the rest of the tier cards, I played the 3 Pearl Rhino, I played the God card, Instant Fusion, Terra Top, Auto Top, etc. Yeah. I played 2 Sulliek and 1 Crime, and then exclusive to my version of this deck, I'm playing 3 of probably like the bad tier card from the set, Grief. If you don't know what this does, it summons a Tearlaments monster or a Vice's Starfrost from your deck or graveyard, and then you send a monster you control with the same type or attribute as the monster you summoned. Why is this good? Well, at worst, it's a Foolish Burial for any tier. At best, it lets you summon Vice's Starfrost from deck, and you send a Light or a Warrior you control to the graveyard. And in which Rhinoheart is a warrior. So if your Rhinoheart gets stopped, like let's say you go summon Rhinoheart, you send a tier, and then it gets hit by a Bestial monster, you can use Grief to summon Vice's Starfrost from deck, and then you can send the Rhinoheart, and then you can trigger the Rhinoheart in grave to summon itself back and send a tier card from hand to grave. You don't have to trigger the Rhinoheart because Vice's on its own just gets you to like Barone. So it's a nice extender for the deck, and like late game you can bring back a Kid Close. You can bring back Kid Close from grave if you really need to. You can bring back Kleiderheart as well, and like trigger it and send someone it back. It's really good. And then I played obviously the little Scareclaw package. I played 3 Vice's Starfrost, 1 Reichheart, 2 Reichphobia, and 2 Arrival. Now these 2 were the 41st and 42nd cards in my deck because if you mill either of these, your entire engine's dead, and the only reason why this is played at 1 is because you can fuse with this to make Mud Dragon of the Swamp. So it means that if you hit this off of your mills, it's still fine because you can put it back into your deck, whereas these are spells, and you can't fuse with spells, unfortunately. Well, it's not yet. So that's why I ended up playing 2 of each. You could say that's a pussy move, I agree, but I had like 2 minutes to submit my deck list, and I was getting on a plane, so I decided to just play 2 and 2, and it worked out. There's a lot of times where I'd like mill 1 of each of these, and I'd still have like another one decent deck. A cool important thing to note is that the Scareclaw Arrival, it's not once per turn to activate the Reborn effect, so if you've drawn 1 and you search the other one off the Reichheart, you can still use both of these in the same turn, which is really relevant. And then Vice's Starfrost, if you didn't know what it does, it just lets you destroy a tier monster you control, and then it summons itself, and it's a level 6 tuner. That's all it really does. But the cooler part about this is that it's searchable off of the Reichphobia, and it's searchable off of the tier field spell as well for whatever reason. Lore, I guess. So yeah, that's why you play it. It lets you get easy access to Barone, whereas I feel like the High Spirits version of this deck doesn't get to Barone that often because you only get Barone if you draw High Spirits. Whereas with this deck, there's so many ways to get to your level 6 tuner that's just very, very easy to get to your Barone. Also, with the addition of like Arrival and like Reichheart, you also have a lot more level 4s in rotation to make Dweller into Mirror Match too.
Is there anything you change about the ratios for the Scareclaws, or would you leave it exactly the same?
Not really. I liked 2 of these of the field spell, 2 of the field spell, and 2 of the arrival. I'd maybe try play around with like 1 of each of the field spell and see if it actually does come up that much. Because like you don't realistically need to bring back with arrival. Like you don't have to resolve the like combo. Like just having Vices on board is usually enough because you'll have a level 4 probably. But I didn't want to think about that, so I just played 2 and 2. I think the 2 and 2 is fine. It's serviceable. But if you're not a coward like me, then you can play 1 and 1, I guess. For other supporting casts in my deck, as you support like kind of the more field spells I played the Foolish Goods package along with the little Crystal Beast guy and the Bridge of Salvation. Foolish Goods is like a lot better now just because there's more targets to send other than just Salik, because now with the new spell as well, Foolish Goods at the end of your combo can search one of your traps, which can come up in like really like kind of grindy situations where like you're kind of top decking. But the best use of this is to just send the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, and then you banish it, and you add 1 of your field spells and Emerald Turtle, which just instantly gets you a discard for like Sharon, which is just, it's also just a good aqua to mill, so it just increases the amount of aquas in your deck. That's essentially why I played it. You just got a free +1 off the Foolish Goods. That's just good. It just gets all your play started. Yeah. And then the last cards I played were Terraforming, because we're playing field spells, and then 3 Super Poly. I didn't play Imperm, I didn't play any other non-engine cards. I really don't feel like the hand traps are that good. People are playing Bestials in their deck, which, like, fair enough, Magnum Hunt is, like, pretty good. But if you weren't playing DD Crow last format, I don't see why you would still play DD Crow this format. Like, it doesn't change the fact that the hand traps still aren't too great. Spoiler alert, I chose to not use any Bestials in my main deck or side deck. I just really don't like hand traps and how they're positioned right now. Like, I don't think that Bestials are that great into every deck in the metagame. I'd rather have a hand trap that's like better into more decks rather than just tier. Like, I don't think the Bestials are that good into Sprite. I don't even think they're remotely playable. So I just decided to play Super Poly because it's like an engine card kind of, but it's also like a board breaker that, you know, allows you to play second. But this deck's already kind of good at playing second regardless, because like since you're playing so much engine cards, you're gonna be drawing so many tier cards, and tier cards can usually break through a lot of boards. Obviously you can't break through like Dweller, but like the Bestials aren't gonna be helping me beat Dweller either, so yeah. That's my main deck. It's 42 cards.
For the main deck, is there anything you changed or anything you would like to add?
I'd maybe think about changing how many non-engine I play. Like, I'd maybe think about, even though I said hand traps aren't that good, I'd maybe think about maybe playing like Imperm in the main, because it's just like a catch-all hand trap. Even though it's like meh, it does hit every deck. But other than that, I don't think I'd really change anything apart from like the Scareclaw ratio. I'd say that this engine was quite good for me, but I'm not sure if I'm just kind of looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. Once again, I haven't tested at all for this event, so it's a very rough list, and a lot of things could probably be improved. I'm not sure where I would start at looking at improving, but I feel like this was probably unnecessary because how many engine cards I was playing already. But every time I resolved Foolish Goods for this, it just felt so strong. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd change it either.
Cool.
An extra deck. Shout out to my friends. And also shout out to Frankie, my artist. For the extra deck, I played 2 Kid Kalos, 1 of the new Fusion Rule Karos, and 1 copy of Kaleido Heart. Very standard ratios. Interesting to know about Rule Karos is that if you negate the graveyard effect of a tier, you don't send a Tearlaments card from your hand or field to the graveyard, which I didn't know until my feature match. So that was crazy, because I has to just negate and destroy the card to be able to send a Tearlaments card from your hand or field to the graveyard. So that's pretty relevant. This card is phenomenal, by the way. This card single-handedly means that Nibiru is completely unplayable in the current format. Between Gigantic Sprite and this, literally no deck can get Nibiru, unless like something bad happens. I'm not sure what bad means in this context, but it's something bad anyway. And then once again, Kaleido Heart is also a lot better now just because you have more ways to get... you have another good card to send off of Kaleido Heart if you pop it with the field spell. Like if you make Kaleido Heart on your first turn, you can use the field spell to pop your Kaleido Heart, and then you can send Scream from deck to grave, Reborn back your Kaleido Heart, and then you can add a trap from deck to hand, which is... it's a very much appreciated utility for the deck. And then when Muddragon is Swamp, this card doesn't really come out that much because I'm not playing Dangers, and the only like dark I play that I can make with this is essentially Red Card. But in like later game scenarios where like you're trying to put back like Muddragon and Dracosopelia, this card can come up, but like I rarely think I summon this. Like, this was usually for like Super Poly more than anything. And then Grura, always a fantastic card. You just draw a bunch of cards in this deck between like the Scareclaws and this. And then Drakus Pally is just a solid fusion monster. Really good into spray. Like, you can chain it to like Smashers and then make their monster level 1, and then they can't banish anything. And then for the kind of like the Scareclaw guy, I played the Lightheart. If you don't know what this does, it's a Link 1. You can make it with Vices or any Scareclaw monster. And on Link Summon, it adds the Scareclaw field spell from deck to hand. And that basically just means, like, so the combo is you summon Vices Starfrost, you make this, you get the field spell, you field spell gets Reichardt, and since it is an extra monster zone, you summon Reichardt underneath it because this is in the same column. You activate Reichardt, you get the Reborn spell Rival, you activate Rival, you get back the Vices, and then if you have more monsters on board, you can like link off your Lightheart plus Reichardt to make like a Dark or something. And then Lightheart has another effect where once per duel, if you have Vices Starfrost on the field, you can reborn it from the graveyard, which can come up a lot because if you, like I said, if you did the play where you bring back, you go, like you link off the Lightheart into Dark and then you bring back the Lightheart later, you can then link off your Dark and Lightheart into Sprint, which is another new card from Parity Elements, which really helps this deck. It's just a Cherubini for level 2 monsters. Pretty good. And the Detach effect didn't come up for me this weekend, but we do play Dweller, so there is a chance for you to go like summon Dweller and then summon this after you make Dweller, and you can, or sorry, you make this and then you summon Dweller after you've made this, and you can trigger this effect to detach off the Dweller and then bounce a monster your opponent controls or something. That can come up, I guess. But yeah, I rarely use this effect this on Merly, but when it comes up, it really does come up. And then once again, this card is really unhealthy, just makes the Tearlament mirror match really unplayable, unfortunately. I think every time I played against a tier mirror match and they didn't have this on board, I just broke through the board every single time. And I played one Barone because we're making with Vices Starfrost and the gang. One Elf, one of the best Link 2s ever made. Dark, also one of the best 2 Link 2s ever made. And then the last 2 cards in my extra deck, I didn't summon a single time. I played Curious and Griffin. Griffin was only here because I'm citing a copy of Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I did not play against a single Runic deck this weekend. I played against like pretty much only like tier mirrors and like a couple of like pure spray. I didn't play any of the Runic decks, which I'm pretty happy about because that deck takes a long time to just lose. And then you just draw because you go the Red Resonator in game 2 or 3 or whatever. And then Curious, this can come up in like really rare situations. The problem with Curious now is that without the dangers, the bodies you're kind of consolidating into your board are usually going into like Elf or like the Synchros and like the Dweller and whatever. So you don't really have a chance to make this, and it's like it can come up because with like Lightheart and Reichardt with the Scareclaw engine, you have a lot of Darks in rotation. But the kind of problem with this is that like you already have easy access to all of your tier names because you're milling so many cards between Scream, Sharon, Merly, Kid Kalos that like you don't really need to send a card from deck to grave a lot of the time, and it only comes up for Eradicator. So I think this is probably the 2 spots in my extra deck that I could say could be literally anything else, but I don't know. I don't think I missed anything. Maybe like IP Avermax, maybe Borload or something like that, but yeah. These 2 spots could have literally been anything else. But once again, hindsight 2020, if I played against any Runic decks, I would have much enjoyed these because I was playing Eradicator. For the side deck, once again, I said I played the Eradicator. It's a good card. I played 3 Kurikara Divine Carnate. This card is insane. I'm not gonna elaborate further. A lot of people are going back to making Toad in their Sprite decks. So anyone like Toad, Elf, or whatever. And a lot of the time you can kind of bait out a lot of the interruptions on the board and just drop Kurikara and just like swing at them for like infinite damage. And in the tier mirror match, this has become absolutely like, it's crazy in the tier mirror match now because they're all ending on like Barone and other stuff. So if you can somehow maybe not trick your opponent, but like if your opponent's kind of not like thinking too much about it and they're just like negating things left, right, and center with like Rule Karos, Barone, and they're using Dweller and stuff, you can really easily just get this up to a attack point value where you just clear their entire board and then you just attack for game. And if you don't attack for game, just revives their Barone in your end phase, which is pretty good. Anyway, even though I said all those things, I never drew this a single time and it never came up. Shout out to Raphael Nevin for telling me to play this. And then I played Gamma and Driver. This is just like a good catch-all hand trap. It beats like Dweller in the mirror match if they end on like... So the weird thing about the mirror match now is that if you end on Dweller plus Rule Karos, you're just getting super polyed and you're losing the game outright because for whatever reason, Rule Karos is a water. But if they don't end on Rule Karos, then they're Dweller is just going to get Gamut, and then they lose. So that's pretty cool. And also, this is like a good hand trap against like every deck. And then I played this, and then I played 3 Cosmic Cyclones. This is just for like Floodgate decks or like Runic decks, which once again I didn't play against a single one. And then I sided 3 Imperm. Once again, a good catch-all hand trap. It's good against Mirror Match, against Sprite, against it's actually just those 2 decks. There's no other deck that exists. Yeah, that's my deck. I completely forgot to explain this. Sorry. I played this card because yeah, that's it.
All right. Anything about the side deck you would change?
I'm suing Raphael Nevin. This is a public call out. I don't know why you told me to play this, and I never drew it. So I'll never know if it's good or not because I never drew it.
You guys played it in Utrecht.
Yeah, I was wondering
why.
I didn't play it in Utrecht. They played it in Utrecht.
They said it was good. I'm like, what does it do? No one explained it. They said
no one ever explained it to me.
And you still put it in your deck again.
And I still, no, this is the first time I put it in my deck because Raph told me so, and I never drew it, so I'll never know if it's good or not.
It's terrible. We can tell you it's not good.
Yeah, okay. Have you tried drawing it?
No.
Okay, well, no one
I can't
knows.
imagine a time I'd want to draw it though.
Well, yeah, this is the best card in my side deck. Why would I change for it? I don't know.
Okay.
Droll.
Droll? All right, cool. Any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to Peter Griffin. Shoutouts to Zoo, the town, WAF, Chinwagging, all of Ireland, Duels Academy. Good job, Nishan. Shoutouts to Mike for not tagging me in his post on Facebook.
Oh my god, you lost too fast. He was already out by the time I posted it.
Shoutouts to everybody who supported me, all my friends and family. My mom learned how to use GIFs, so that's terrifying. And that's really it, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations and thank you for the deck.